What if I told you the biggest threat to Ethereum isn't what you think? Everyone points to the flashy new kids on the block, the so-called Ethereum killers. You hear the names all the time: Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, and a dozen others, all promising to be faster, cheaper, and better than the king of smart contracts. But what if the real challenger, the one that could actually dethrone Ethereum, isn't an external rival at all? What if it's something hiding in plain sight, something that most people in crypto completely overlook? For years, the narrative has been the same. A new Layer 1 blockchain launches with massive venture capital backing and a slick marketing campaign. They boast about their insane transaction speeds, their near-zero fees, and their revolutionary consensus mechanisms. They get labeled the next Ethereum killer, and for a while, the hype is deafening. We've seen this movie before, right? Let's talk about the usual suspects. First up, Solana. It burst onto the scene with its proof-of-history consensus and promised mind-boggling speeds, thousands of transactions per second. For a while, it seemed unstoppable. The ecosystem exploded with DeFi projects and NFT marketplaces. But then, the cracks started to show. The network suffered multiple, highly publicized outages, sometimes for hours at a time. It raised a critical question: what good is speed if the network isn't reliable? A decentralized network is supposed to be unstoppable, but Solana's downtime made it look more like a centralized server that could just be switched off. That really shook investor confidence and made people wonder if it had traded too much decentralization for speed. Then you have Cardano. Cardano took the complete opposite approach. Instead of move fast and break things, their philosophy was slow and steady wins the race. Led by Ethereum co-founder Charles Hosking, Cardano focused on a peer-reviewed, academic-driven development process. Everything was meticulously researched, planned, and documented. On paper, it sounds perfect. The problem, it took forever. The crypto space moves at lightning speed, and while Cardano was busy publishing academic papers, other ecosystems were building, deploying, and attracting millions of users. By the time Cardano finally launched its smart contract capabilities, many felt it was too little, too late. The ecosystem just hasn't seen the explosive growth or developer adoption that many had hoped for. It has a loyal community, for sure, but it hasn't become the bustling digital metropolis that Ethereum is. So if it's not the speed demon Solana, and it's not the academic Cardano, then what is it? Some might point to other chains, like Avalanche with its subnets, or Polkadot with its pair, and they all bring interesting ideas to the table, creating a more interconnected, multi-chain world. But they all share a fundamental challenge. They are trying to build a new network from scratch. They have to attract developers, users, and liquidity away from Ethereum, which has a massive head start and a powerful network effect. It's like trying to build a new city to compete with New York. You can have better infrastructure, but you still need to convince everyone to move there. Ethereum's stickiness is its greatest defense. This is where the big twist comes in. The real Ethereum killer isn't another Layer 1 blockchain. It's not a rival trying to steal its crown. The real killer is Layer 2. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Layer 2, South, aren't those part of Ethereum? Exactly, that's the whole point. The greatest threat to Ethereum's dominance isn't a competitor. It's the risk of its own evolution, failing, but right now, that evolution is succeeding spectacularly. Let's break it down. What were the main complaints about Ethereum? It was slow, and it was expensive. During peak times, like a popular NFT mint, gas fees could skyrocket to hundreds of dollars for a single transaction. This priced out the average user and made it impossible to build certain types of applications, like games or social media, that require frequent low-cost interactions. This is the problem Layer 2 scaling solutions are designed to solve. They don't try to replace Ethereum, they build on top of it. Think of it like this: Ethereum is a super secure, but very congested, main highway. A Layer 2 is like an express lane or a high-speed rail line built alongside that highway. It takes a bunch of transactions, processes them off the main chain quickly and cheaply, and then bundles them together into a single, neat package. It then submits this package back to the main Ethereum highway, inheriting all of its security and decentralization. You get the best of both worlds: the speed and low cost of a new chain, combined with the battle-tested security of Ethereum. This is a game changer. Suddenly, the core criticisms of Ethereum just melt away. Let us look at the two biggest players in the Layer 2 space right now: Optimism and Arbitrum. These are both what we call optimistic rollups. They optimistically assume that all the transactions they process are valid. They post the transaction data to Ethereum, and there's a challenge period where anyone can prove fraud. If no one challenges it, the transaction is confirmed. This system is incredibly efficient. Using Arbitrum or Optimism, you can do things on the Ethereum ecosystem for a fraction of the cost, often just a few cents per transaction. And with near-instant confirmation times, this has unleashed a tidal wave of innovation. DeFi protocols, NFT marketplaces, and brand new applications are launching directly on these Layer 2 South. They are no longer constrained by high gas fees. It's like the internet moving from dial-up to broadband. A whole new world of possibilities opens up. And all of this activity, all of this value, ultimately settles back on the main Ethereum network. It strengthens Ethereum, it doesn't weaken it, but the innovation doesn't stop there. We're also seeing the rise of Z-Karollups, or zero-knowledge rollups. These are even more advanced, instead of an optimistic approach with a challenge period. Z-Karollups use complex cryptography to generate a validity proof. This is a mathematical guarantee that all the transactions in the batch are legitimate. This proof is then posted to Ethereum. It's incredibly secure and even more efficient, as you don't need a long waiting period for challenges. Projects like Sexsync and Starknet are pioneers in this space, and many believe this is the long-term future of Ethereum scaling. So, why does this make Layer 2 the Ethereum killer? Because it is killing the idea that you need another Layer 1. It is killing the very narrative that propelled Solana and Cardano. Why would a developer or a user move to a completely new, less secure, and less decentralized ecosystem when they can get the same speed and low fees right here, within the familiar and secure world of Ethereum? Layer 2 South are absorbing the demand that would have otherwise gone to competing chains. They are solving Ethereum's biggest problems from within. The Ethereum killer wasn't an external enemy. It was a self-improvement program. Ethereum is essentially upgrading itself in real time, using these Layer 2 South as its engine for growth. Think about the network effect. Every new user, every new developer, every new dollar that comes into a Layer 2, like Arbitrum or Optimism, is still part of the broader Ethereum ecosystem. The liquidity is connected, the assets can be bridged back and forth, and the security is anchored to Ethereum's manage. Instead of fragmenting the crypto world into dozens of siloed chains, Layer 2 South are creating a more cohesive and powerful Ethereum-centric universe. So, the next time you hear someone talking about the next big Ethereum killer, ask them about Layer 2 South. Ask them how a new Layer 1 can compete when Ethereum is becoming just as fast and cheap through its own scaling solutions. The truth is, the race was never about killing Ethereum. It was about solving the scalability trilemma. And it turns out, the most elegant solution wasn't to build a new castle, but to add skyscrapers to the one that already stands strongest. The Ethereum killer was never a who, it was a what. It was technology. It was innovation, and in a beautiful twist of fate, it's the very innovation that is securing Ethereum's dominance for the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this perspective, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of crypto. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is the era of Layer 1 wars over? I'll see you in the next one.